Okay, folks, part two of what I like about the Himalayan, whatever. I'll say Himalayan. Some people say Himalayan. Himalayan's mostly used. Okay, so some more things I like about this bike. Single cylinder, simple, one piston. Simple design, single cylinder, nice thumper sound. Okay. What else I like? Spoke wheels, gives it that classic look. Mag wheels don't do for me. I love a bike with spoke wheels. I had some Triumphs. I had the Triumph 900 Scrambler, the Triumph Bonneville, which I loved. Okay, so why did I buy this? Well, I was playing the drums and my back was too bad for playing the drums and I had to stop playing the drums. I sold everything. I sold my drum kit, I sold some radio equipment I had. I sold everything to buy this bike. I could have bought a second-hand bike, but I wanted to buy something new with a 3-year warranty, brand new. No one has run it in, only me. And I run it in slowly because my nickname is Captain Slow with my friends. I always stay at the back of any groups I ride with. I go as slow as possible. I'm not on the speed. Another thing, so it doesn't go amazingly fast according to some people. But as you know, I live in Latvia. The speed limit on all the roads around here is 90 kilometers per hour. Not mile an hour, kilometers per hour. 90 kilometers. This bike will do this all day, every day. Not a bother. With loads of spare. On the motorways, okay, 110, 120. It'll still do it. So if people are complaining that it's not fast enough, and they're living, say, for example, in most places in Europe, well then the only problem with speed is their problem with speed, not the bike's problem. The bike will do the speed, the legal speed. So there's no reason why it's not a perfect bike. And it hauls my fat ass around, so if it hauls me around, it's plenty of torque, great torque in this bike. Also, the brakes. Okay, I did say the front brake felt a bit spongy, and a lot of people say that, and it's very true. I mean, I've rode a lot of bikes with twin front brakes, Suzuki Bandits, and I had a Harley Fat Bob, which has very good brakes for the Harley. But okay, it takes a good squeeze on these brakes. But I mean, when I was 20 years old, I worked as a motorcycle courier in Dublin City in Ireland, and I was driving a Honda CG 125. Not tiny compared to this tiny little bike. Fantastic bike, great mileage per gallon. Like this, also great mileage per gallon on this bike. It really does, for a modern bike, it's fantastic. Again, going back to the Honda 125, I drove that little Honda 125 for many years as a motorcycle courier with tiny little drum brakes and tiny little horsepower, and it did me, and it stopped. I think a lot of modern riders are very spoilt. They have these ultra-modern bikes with all these rider aids. I never had rider aids. This is one of the first bikes I've ever had with ABS. And I couldn't care less if it has it or if it hasn't got it. Who cares? ABS, who cares? If you can ride a bike, you can ride a bike. But the modern people, I don't know, youth, I'm sounding like a grumpy old man, but young people, they want all the electronics. They want to press a button to put it in sport mode. Sport mode, drive a little harder. There's your sport mode. Oh, I want rain, wet weather mode. Though, if it's raining, go a little slower, be more gentle on the brakes. I mean, oh my God, it drives me crazy. They light up these things and they light computers. I hate computers. They light these things and they light them up and they light, The other problem, or I should say, the other thing people say about them is, they say that the frame breaks. Oh, they break. Them Himalayans, the front end falls off them. I can show you a photo. Oh my God, drives me crazy. A few photos from the internet. Oh, by the way, there's photos of KLRs with broken frames. There was a guy called Ewan and a guy called Charlie, and they done a trip, and they managed to break the frames on a couple of little, BMW GSs, which I've had and I love, but ridiculously big for off-road in my opinion, but fantastic if you just want to cruise all day on road with the odd bit of track. Brilliant bikes. But so many bikes have problems with frame breakages. A few of these broke at the start, yes, granted, and there were some pictures of guys standing there with the front end like this. Number one, how hard were these bikes ridden before they broke? Nobody knows. Nobody knows how hard they were used until the frame broke. The modern frame, because a few broke, they braced them. They now have bracing in here, up at the top of the frame. They have extra piece of tubing and the frames are braced. None of them break anymore. So if you hear about, you get these people who just, I think a lot of people they're just anti-Himalayan. They want their KLRs and they want their DRs and all. They can have their DRs and they can have their KLRs. I mean, I could have bought a GS 650, an older one, a Funduro, instead of buying this. But again, I wanted a new bike. The GS also, I like. It's a low seat height. I'm a short arse. I'm 5'8". I have a 29-inch inner leg, so this suits me perfect. Anything bigger than that, I'm a little bit tippy-toe, but this gives you loads of confidence. You're lower to the ground. If you need to paddle through some bad terrain, it's great. So, it suits me. And what I'll do is I'll rub it, I'll caress it gently. No, it does the job perfectly. It's absolutely perfect. As a city bike, it's great fun. If you're into this sort of style and the simplicity, also the Scram, the Royal Enfield Scram is a fantastic bike. Now, another bike I liked, which is in between this and the GS, would be the Suzuki V-Strom. I had the 650 V-Strom, and I really like that bike. Okay, it's a little bit tall, but I can get my feet on the ground. Not flat foot, but I can get my feet on the ground. V-Strom, fantastic bike. I've done some touring with my friends around France and Belgium and Holland, and I love the V-Strom. And maybe I'll get a second-hand one of them, but this is staying because I know I've run it in. I'll be taking care of it. I don't know. I'm not buying someone else's nightmare, So that's it. I'm waffling on a bit, but that's what happens when I'm trying this on a camera instead of my phone. I usually do all my stuff on a little old Android phone that's really fit for the bin. This phone is so old, if I try and take some photographs, the phone goes dead. If I take 3 photos, the phone goes dead. It'll work on taking a video for maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes. After that, it's dead, even with 100% charge. So I need a new phone. But this is my camera. It's a Nikon camera. My hobby would be photography, so I just thought I'd try filming with the Nikon camera and see how it looks for quality and see if the microphone's any better. And today's a calmer day. There's very little wind, so it's a nice day. As usual, beautiful forestry here in Latvia. I'll just grab this camera, make sure everything's working. I don't even know if you could see me. I had my camera here on this little step. I couldn't get my head behind it to see if you can actually see me. So maybe my head will be cut off and this video will be a complete waste of time. But there's my lovely bike. And there's a bracing in there, It's all strengthened up. And it's wonderful. I'm really so happy with it. And it's not just because I have a new bike. Some people, they get a new bike and they're like, oh my god, it's amazing. I've ridden about 60 bikes since I was 12 years old. I've been riding bikes, so I'm not just talking about some bloke who has his first or second bike and who's a beginner. You get people saying it's a beginner's bike. Yeah, me arse, it's a beginner's bike. Anyway, so there it is in all its glory.